That's a good point.
I mean, I'm playing League. I mean, I wouldn't mind you here. It's like, unless we're talking about something. You want?
What could I watch?
You want to talk about something, or like?
Sure.
What you want to talk about?
My dad broke his leg today.
Oh, what the fuck, Boobin?
I just found out, like.
Okay, wait. Let me stop you here.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
Okay.
But when I say talk about stuff, I mean like a conversation. Now, saying news is fine. I don't mind news, but that gets pretty stale pretty quick because news is news.
Does. I was just gonna say. I wasn't gonna say anything more about it, honestly.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I was kind of done.
I kind of feel like a dickhead now. Anyway, trying to think, is there any news I know?
Other than Elijah dating a 28-year-old.
Listen, Elijah has a whole slew of news. I don't know. My opinion on Elijah is very wish-wash sometimes. Sometimes I really love the guy, but sometimes I really get annoyed by him because of how much...
Recently, he's been acting more and more like an ass clown.
Yeah, thank you for the host, Charlotte, by the way.
I don't get what that means.
On Twitch.
Okay.
Charlotte basically showed her stream that I'm streaming, and now her viewers are watching me.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
And I don't think she has any viewers, because it's just my one viewer, which is me. But I still appreciate the sentiment.
That's nice.
Anyway. Elijah's, I don't know. The main thing I don't like about Elijah is that we give him advice, and he's thankful for it, but he just never uses it and doesn't listen.
That's not what bothers me.
There's a lot more that bothers me, but...
What bothers me is that happens, and then he says we didn't give him advice.
Wait, really? He says that?
Well, more like okay, it's not that he says we don't give him advice, it's kind of like he says stuff like, well, I don't know what to do. And then
I'll told you what the fuck to do.
Yeah, it's like that. Like,
and you didn't do it, so now you don't know what to do because we didn't tell you what to do yet, and you're not even gonna do it.
It's like, that's why I don't really give him. I don't bother giving him advice anymore because he never listens to me.
Damn. I mean, I give it just to see him not use it. I don't know. I like trying to figure situations out. But the other thing that annoys me is just how, like, I'm trying to find the right word for this. It's not aggressive. It's antagonistic. It's like when he's in here, a lot of fights break out, a lot of people harass each other more often than usual in this chat. And it's like... He
enjoys insinuating, not insinuating, he enjoys inciting conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Vishal.
Vishal is not like that. Okay, no, Vishal is like that, but not as bad as Elijah is. Because Vishal sometimes likes to chill out. Elijah, like, kind of thrives on it sometimes.
I feel like it's the only thing that gives him purpose.
Oh, that's not good.
I don't think it's good either, but it's what I have observed. Yeah. It seems to me like he only feels whole when he's causing discord.
Oh my, you think so?
Yes.
God, I hope that's not the case. Because I don't believe that, but...
He never seemed... Okay, think about it like this. He never really seemed satisfied with his girl. He seemed like he just had it because he wanted to have one.
No. Okay, no. I believe, and based on what he's told me, that he has his girl because he wanted fuck. And once he kept getting fuck from her, he kind of, he got what he wanted, and then he was like, alright, yeah, I don't mind if I leave her. Yeah, I don't mind if I get a new girlfriend. He was basically staying with her until he found something better, which, look what happened. He found something, quote-unquote, better.
No, but that is kind of like my point. Like, he didn't really, like, care.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And then he would say sometimes that he did care, which I thought was untruthful.
But it's very untruthful.
Yeah, but he convinced himself he cared. He convinces himself of a lot of things. But...
He convinces himself of a great deal of things. He has a power of doing that. He has a power of convincing himself that something is true when it is not.
But Boobin, he's really gonna go back this time. He's gonna go back to college for sure.
I've never believed him when he's ever said that.
How dare you say? He's gonna show you. He's gonna show you with his actions.
I've never believed him whenever he's made promises. Whenever he makes a okay, look. Before it used to be that I didn't trust it when he made a promise to himself. Now I don't believe him when he makes a promise at all.
See, that's ironic because I feel like you first make a promise to everyone else, and then when you're like really doing self reflection and you're like really serious, that's when you do a promise to yourself. Like, personally, I have promises to myself that I don't tell people what they are because it's not important to anyone else but me. And it's like, if I fail those, that's like the last thing I want to do on the list. Like,
Wow.
okay, I'll make a promise to someone else, I'll try and keep it. But the
You're very
promises to
different from most
myself,
people, though.
that's
Most
not the
people,
standard?
most people are much more willing to help other people than they are to help themselves.
I don't know. I feel like people value themselves more than anything, whether they like to admit it or not. I feel like most
Well,
people look out for
they don't act.
themselves.
From my experience, they don't seem to act like that. People will tend to be, from my experience at least, much greater judges of themselves. They tend to be harsher on themselves,
No,
and
that's completely true.
they tend to actually devalue themselves quite a bit.
That's also true.
The vast majority of people who have like low self, like not even low self image, like if somebody fucks up, like let's say you're teaching somebody something, right, and they fuck up, unless if you're like an asshole or they should know better by that point, you're probably gonna be like, okay, well, you fucked up, this is why you fucked up, this is how you can improve, and you're
Yes.
gonna help them improve.
Yes.
And but then if you fuck up, you're usually like, damn, I fucked up, I shouldn't have fucked up, that was stupid of me, why did I make that decision, I should have done this instead of that.
Yes.
It could have been the exact same mistake, you could have had the exact same level of experience, but people don't like that quite a bit. That's why it's like, if okay, for an example, I like to think about is kind of like if you tell somebody, oh, I'm gonna help you paint your house, and it's like a good friend of yours,
Mm-hmm.
chances are you're actually gonna go help him paint his house.
Yes.
When he calls you up and says, yeah, I need your help, he's like, okay, fine, I'll head there right now.
Well, I mean,
But if you tell yourself, but if you tell yourself, oh, I'm gonna paint my house,
yeah.
maybe you'll paint your house, but most people are gonna be
Okay.
like, I'll do
Okay.
it later.
Wait. Wait.
I'll do it later.
Yeah. Okay. You're not wrong, but I feel like there's different types of promises people make to themselves. There's like little bullshit ones because like that's a promise that realistically doesn't mean jack shit, and I don't think people would promise
That was
themselves.
just an
Okay.
example.
Well, yeah, obviously, but like I feel like just in general, there's like a lot of different types of things people do. There's like semi-serious, non-serious, and very serious. I think the very serious promises are like, you know, like for instance, let's say this, like, oh, let's say it's like a father who has like kids and stuff, and I don't know, it's some like holiday or something, because that's when all this shit always happens. And they're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make a
Uh-huh.
promise to myself to stop smoking. I've been smoking for 20 years. I'm gonna make a promise to myself to stop. And like, that's a very serious promise they're making. Where it's like they have another promise where it's like, oh, I don't wanna, or no, they make a promise like, oh, I'm gonna start jogging every day. Where realistically, they're gonna eventually miss a day. They're not gonna jog every day, but like, it's a semi-serious promise. Whereas the smoking thing is a serious one. Like, they, in their heart of hearts, do not want to even smoke once because that would be betraying the promise. But if they don't run every day, or if they don't jog every day in like the morning, and they miss a
I feel like that
single
would
day,
also depend on the person, though. Like, if you're a professional athlete, missing a day of jogging might be as serious as like smoking.
yeah, but I'm talking about throughout their whole life. Like, because I take things very literally, you know that. When they say, oh, I promise to always fucking, like, jog every day or whatever, like, do they mean for their whole
Well, I guess
life?
you're
No.
right.
They don't. It's
It's easier.
semi-serious.
It's easier to decide to not to do something than it is to decide to always do something.
Exactly. But they say always, but realistically, it's a semi-serious promise. They don't mean always. But they're going to try and stick to it. Whereas the serious one is, like, always in place. So, like,
I don't think calling it serious or semi-serious is accurate. It's more kind of how achievable is it?
I
You know,
guess I
because
just don't have
often,
a better naming method.
because like when people like people often speak in hyperbole when they do things like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's not meant to always be taken precisely seriously.
Yeah, it's not. But you see where I'm coming from, at least? You see the idea I'm putting forth?
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. The screen for your stream is like really small, by the way. Like the actual thing of you playing.
Oh, yeah, it's because I'm fucking playing League right now. I'm
Oh,
gonna die
okay.
here.
You can like, stop the
Yeah, I
stream if
know.
you want.
You can also stop watching it. I'm so sad I died there. God, the support fucking baited me. If she landed that knockup, I would have had her dead there. Fucking hell. I'm so mad. Oh, Tristana has a kill on her. God, why did she flash away instead of helping me with the Tristana? Fuck, the support really fucked up. That's so bad what this Elise is doing.
So as I was saying, the example I always give that I think was like the first moment I started to understand like the kind of guy Elijah really was when there was a Smite skin,
Oh, I
like
know
the
this story.
yeah, with the Nemesis
Yeah.
and everything, and how I got everybody the skin, and everybody except for Elijah actually started to help me get the tier skin that I wanted.
Mmm.
In like return, like Jesse fulfilled his end of the bargain, so did Roddy.
I mean, but is that like a serious thing though?
It's the little things matter.
They do, but I'm talking about more big things relating to like Elijah's self.
But Elijah's never fulfilled any promise.
I don't.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, as far as we know, he hasn't. But it's like.
Okay, but Elijah, and not Elijah, Alan, that means a lot. The fact that
Yeah, I
neither
know
you
it
and
does.
I can, the fact that neither of us right now can point to a time we can recall of Elijah fulfilling a promise he's made is really telling.
Well, he said he was gonna move
We've
out.
known him for a very long time.
He said he was gonna move out, and he did move out.
I wouldn't really consider that to be like a promise, That's like, you know, saying I'm gonna move out seems like such like a minute thing. Like, yeah, of course you're gonna move out. Like,
Yeah, but like I guess he meant like.
that's like saying I'm gonna. I don't fucking know.
I guess like he meant it with the context of like soon, which he did do, kind of. He did
It's
do.
like, it's just things like that. Like, how many times has he told us and himself, and presumably he's gonna stop smoking weed?
Oh yeah, no, that he got me there. But listen,
And he even told me, yo, yeah, I did coke once. Robinson, never do it. I'm never gonna do it again. It was a terrible idea.
Yeah, no, he's done
And
it a
I
lot of
and
times
I
after
thought,
that.
and at the time when he first told me that, I'm like, well, it was stupid of you to do it in the first place, but whatever. As long as you understand, like, as long as you realize how bad of an experience it was, and you decide not to do it again.
Yes.
It's better that you learn this lesson now, I suppose.
Yes. But
Did it again.
Yeah. That's why my main thing is Elijah says things and like they don't really mean anything, which is pisses
Yeah,
me
that's
off.
the thing. It's like,
Yeah, we went over this. He says stuff and like
Elijah's a good guy to hang out with. I enjoy, but even that, it's like I have to hang out with him in person for me to get along with him.
damn, really?
No, it's like when I hang out online with him, I don't know why. It's just that the fucking venom comes out for some fucking reason. I don't understand why it is. It's just he
fucking
likes to
venom.
instigate things. He likes to twist what I say a lot.
That's
actually.
what I'm saying, yo.
Like, there was a time I was talking about how, like, yeah, like, as soon as I am capable of getting a job, because it's slowing down right now because of COVID,
Yes.
I'm going to start saving up. And then I said my plan is within a month or two of me having my programming job that's going to be paying me pretty well. I
Yes.
want to have my own place and live on my own.
Okay.
And then I said it's like I want to, within a year or two of having my coding job, buy my own house.
Okay.
And Elijah's first instinct was that notion was a fantasy, that I couldn't possibly accomplish that within a year or two.
Well, personally, I think it's a little unrealistic because how much are you going to be making a year?
70K start.
70K starting. I don't believe with all
That's
the expenses you'll have after 2 years you'll be able to afford a house. Without them, are you planning on buying it in full or with a mortgage?
Oh fuck no! I'm not buying that in full. I can't buy something in. I can't buy an entire house in full after 2 years.
Yeah, never mind. Then it is realistic, I would say. You put down.
I mean, I say buy a
mortgage.
house, but I mean like like get a house.
Okay, yeah. That's...
I don't think I actually I didn't really use I didn't say buy. I meant like have my own place, like have my own house.
Well, to me, and I'm probably to Elijah too, that implied owning.
I didn't say that though.
But it was implied. You didn't like state you were gonna mortgage it. More often than not, I would argue that what you just said is like owning, or it implies ownership.
Who in their right mind would believe that after 2 years of working, you would be able to purchase a house outright?
Um, Maybe he thought you did.
I don't think that was the case.
Maybe he thought so, because remember, people think differently.
I feel like you would have said that though, but he didn't.
Maybe I'm
At
just
no
thinking
point,
too far into it.
at no point did he say, Robinson, that's going to be like $200,000 if you get a cheap house, and I imagine you would want a more, like not a cheap, I imagine you would want like a decent house to live in. That'll probably be like 300,000, maybe 400,000. You're not going to be able to buy that in 2 years. And had he said that, I would have been like, oh no, I do not mean purchase it in full. I mean like mortgage it out, have my own place. And then he would have been like, oh okay, I must have misunderstood you. He at no point did he say that. He never said anything even remotely close to that.
Okay, so maybe I'm just not sure on what he thought was unrealistic. Because maybe he thought you getting a job was unrealistic. Maybe he thought you affording it was unrealistic. I don't know at this point. I'm not him. I was just trying to argue devil's advocate, maybe. Trying to help him out.
It's also not the first time that I've talked about my plans for the future, and Elijah has spoken about it as if it was unrealistic. I like to think I'm a pretty down-to-earth individual when it comes to financial things. Not even just financial things. When it comes to most things in general, I'm a pretty down-to-earth person. I don't want a lot of things. I don't really care about frivolity. I don't want an expensive house. I don't want an expensive car. I don't want to go to fucking Tahiti.
Boobin, you're talking to the most. What did you say you were?
Down to earth.
I would say that if that's like what's down to earth, I'm the most down to earth guy because I want literally nothing except to stay in my house and
Hold
that's
on,
it.
bro. I'll be right back. My dad's calling me.
Okay. Okay, so I have crit. She has more damage, but I have more crit. But I have more survivability, which is pretty good. I just really want to get this caddy. I got the fucking caddy. Alright, cool. We got a pink there. They're just camping the fuck out of mid. It doesn't look like this game is going too well, but I mean, we'll see, right? Looks like they're looking for it too. They really want it. Luckily, Tristana pushes the wave, so I'm not too sad about this. Oh fuck, I fucked up there. That's good. Jenna could very well get fucked on here. Oh, hell no. Oh my god, Jen, if you have ult, you better ult me. You held on to ult for so long.
Sorry, I'm back.
So fucking okay.
It sounds like my dad's doing a lot better, so that's good to hear.
Oh.
Yeah, he didn't hit his head when he fell. It was just the legs, so
Oh,
it's okay.
God. He didn't hit his head.
Yeah, that was what I was worried about. Like,
him hitting his fucking head.
it's a lot easier to fix a limb injury than a head injury, especially at his age. He's 50, man. I was really worried, honestly. But it's glad to hear that, like, he didn't hit his head and, like, it looks like everything's gonna be okay. So, what I was saying, you were saying you were, like, down to earth.
Yes. Yeah, I'm like one of the most down to earth guys then, because you know me, I kind of don't want anything.
Yeah, I get that. Well, I wasn't saying that as a competition.
No, I'm not either. I'm just saying, like, you're with a like-minded individual.
My point is that I try to make my goals in life as realistic as possible. there are certain things that I want that are not necessarily unrealistic, but will be more difficult to attain. But those are few and far between. I tend to focus on what is most realistic, and I try to get that. Like,
Okay.
I want my own place to live.
Okay.
That's perfect. That's perfectly realistic. I want to have my own house eventually. I
Well,
want to be able to.
maybe the time frame is like the unrealistic part of what Elijah thought. Because even to
I
me,
don't.
2 years is a little like
That's not
soon.
unrealistic. Let me give you an example. My brother Robert, uh, he after like a year of working at his original place, he could have purchased a house. The reason, and he was making the amount of money that I am going more than likely going to be starting to make once everything blows over.
Okay.
The only reason why Robert did not purchase a house was because one, we lived in New York, so houses were more expensive. But I don't live in New York anymore.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Where you live, are they cheaper?
Depending on the place, yes, but where I am right now, especially, yes.
Huh.
In addition to that, uh, Robert spent a lot of his money giving money to friends of his who were in really rough spots and
Okay.
needed help. Well, they didn't really need help, but Robert wanted to help, and also
Was
helping my
being
mother with
charitable.
expenses, with being
Okay.
charitable, and helping my mother with expenses. That's literally the only reason why my brother doesn't already have a house.
Okay.
What was it not for the fact that Robert has spent a large portion of his money, like going on a lot of vacations, and in my opinion, being a little bit irresponsible with his money, but it's his own money, so I'm not going to tell him what to do with it.
Of course.
He would have had a house already. And that was within a year of him working. I'm saying within a year to two, I want to mortgage a house, not even buy one.
Yeah, that's pretty realistic. So
It's
maybe
like
I don't know. I'm trying to just see like Elijah's point of view. Maybe like he didn't think you were gonna get the
I
job right away or whatever.
no, but you see that. But what I was going to before was that it's not the first time he said that.
Maybe we should fucking
Like,
leave.
not that specifically, but something similar to that. Because there have been times where I have mentioned, like, there was a conversation I had with him where I was I think you might have been there too. I don't recall. Where I was basically saying that, like, I don't really like this idea that you should like forcefully take exuberant amount of money from wealthy people.
Uh huh.
And the reason why is because I don't think it's right that if you worked hard to have your wealth and you're not one of the people who lied and cheated to get that money, then it's yours. And it's
Yeah,
not really right to say that people should take 60% or 70% of what you own
that
because
is
you have so
true.
much more than other people. Because, like,
Well,
and
actually, this goes
Elijah's,
into a question of ethics and morals now.
well,
Cause,
that debate is irrelevant to what my point is, though. Because
well,
what
let me
Elijah's,
put it through.
no, let me, okay, fine.
After you say your thing about Elijah, just remind me
Because
to put my opinion through.
what Elijah said when I said that was he hates that notion, like people who aren't rich that talk like that because you're never going to be rich.
Uh
And
huh.
when he said that, I was dumbfounded. Like, I actually didn't have words because all
Wait,
that
what
went through my
exactly did he
mind.
say?
He said that it's like I hate it when people talk like that because you're never gonna be rich. Those were his exact words, like verbatim. Those were his words.
Wait, when who talks like what exactly?
No, when people say stuff like you shouldn't take this money from the rich because they like it's their money.
I'm a little confused on this argument.
I said the whole thing about not taking money from not taking too much money from wealthy people because it's their money,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Elijah responded that he hates when people who aren't rich talk like that because like you're never gonna be rich. It's fucking stupid.
So he hates that you said that because you're never gonna be rich.
Yeah. And when he said that, like I literally didn't even respond to him because I didn't know what to say because what it made zero sense to me what he just uttered. Because like it's not about whether or not I will attain millionaire or billionaire status. It's about the principle of what I was trying to say. So rather than him arguing against the principle of what I was saying, and rather than him arguing against the actual philosophy or economics of what I was saying, which would have potentially been a valid argument depending on what he said, he went for the dumbest possible response that didn't really mean anything. It really stemmed from what I like to call broke nigga mentality. For example, the poorest people
Yes.
buy the most expensive shoes.
Elijah?
Broke nigga mentality.
I'm so fucking dead.
The poorest people, based on that logic, all those poor guys living in New York and like Brooklyn should really stop looking at all the new Lamborghinis coming out because they're never gonna own one.
That's true. But they want to
It's
appear
like,
like they're rich.
and like, so it's kind of like it just didn't make any sense to me. First off, that's one thing. Second thing, I'm not even gonna get into it because what I was about to say, it was going to be so controversial, and I know you
Oh
probably
my
wouldn't
God.
have agreed with me on it, so I'm just not even gonna bother.
Well, you could say it anyway.
Okay, fine. I am of
I'm
the
just waiting to
opinion-
say my opinion.
Oh yeah, what were you gonna say?
So my idea is, in essence, I agree with what you're saying. Where it's like, oh, if the person earned it, right? If the rich person earned it, it should be theirs to keep, because it's theirs, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But
And
then you get
I preface that they were not a crook.
yeah, exactly.
They
Like
didn't cheat.
it's theirs, like in every which way. And I agree that no person has the right to take it, which is stealing. That's wrong because they earned it. But then it becomes a question of like, okay, let's think about this like in reality, what would happen if that money either taken by a higher authority or given willingly by the person, what it would do to all parties, right? You want me to give the example of Bill Gates because he's a common, big known, well example?
I know this example perfectly well. It wouldn't affect the individual at all, but it would
Yes.
help a lot of other people immensely.
Yes. Now, oh my god, I missed the caddy. Now, while I don't agree it's right to like take the money because it's theirs, it's not right. I can't just ignore the fact that it would also literally benefit everyone and not harm the rich person in any which way if they gave away some portion of their money. Now, I hope they would do it willingly because I'm not for taking it away because that's wrong, but I'd hope the rich person would see, okay, if I have this much wealth and I give away this much, will anything change in my life? No. Then I should help people, right? Because I think as a species we have a duty to each other to help each other.
I will say, okay, what I'm gonna say is kind of an irrelevant point because it doesn't change the essence of what you're saying. But I think Bill Gates is a bad example because he gives a shit ton to charity.
You're right, but I'm just saying that because he's just rich.
No, you see, that's why I'm saying that. It doesn't really change your point.
Yeah, I could use Jeff Bezos or anyone realistically. But what I'm saying also is like I'm not trying to downplay what he's gave to charity. That's good and important too. But I'm saying like he could give more, basically. He's not obliged to, he doesn't have to, but he could.
Okay. This goes into a deeper question, depending on how much we want to get into this. It's like there are two schools of thoughts. Well, there are more than that, but specifically for what we're talking about, is entertain this idea. What you were positing is that if the hyper wealthy gave away portions of their wealth such that their personal lives would not be impacted,
Yes.
then society would be better off in that the poor would be uplifted.
Yes. And I'm not saying to do it in such a mathematical way to where like, oh, you have to calculate exactly how much you could give away
Yeah, I know.
to where
I get
it
what you're
won't
saying.
affect
It's
you.
like general rules.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
So here is my slight counter to that.
Okay.
I don't disagree with in essence what you're saying because I do believe in charity and I think it's very important.
Yes.
I do question, however, whether or not giving the money to charity or using the charity to build businesses and hiring people, which of those two is actually more effective for helping people in the long term and the short term?
Well, now we're getting into a question of how to use the money, not whether it's right to do so.
No, see, but that is my point. It's kind of like a lot of people make this assumption that the hyper wealthy have all of this money as liquid, which is that that you and me and Dan were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And certainly Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, all these guys have a shit ton of money that's liquid. They definitely do.
Yes.
But it's a fraction of what they're actually worth.
That's true, yes.
It's not as though Bill Gates has $1 billion in cash to
No, he
just buy
doesn't.
stuff. Well, I think he does, but I think he specifically does. But
Jeff Bezos, Mr. Bezos.
I think Bezos does act. Wait, does Bezos have like cash that much?
I
I
don't
thought
know.
I thought Bezos was the richest net worth, not the richest like liquid.
I don't know because we don't know they're liquid, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. We don't know the liquid. We only know what they're okay with saying.
Yeah.
So, it's like
I mean, the man's almost a trillionaire, so how much billions goes into a trillion, right? 999 plus 1.
I don't know. I don't know what the conversion is.
I mean, it's math. It's 999 billion plus another
Oh,
billion.
that's what you were saying. I thought you were saying like what percent of his trillions in net worth would be liquid. I misunderstood what you were saying.
No. Like, I'm saying, like, $1 billion, like, $1 billion to him is not a lot of money.
No, it's not. It's 100th of his fortune. But that's assuming that he has $1 trillion in cash, which he doesn't.
I feel like if you have that much money, you might, honestly.
No, he has $1 trillion in net worth. He doesn't have $1 trillion in cash.
Yeah, no. I mean $1 billion, sorry. $1 billion in cash.
Oh, $1 billion in cash he probably does.
Yeah, he might have that much, which is kind of crazy. But it's like, my opinion is on money exactly is like, I don't believe you should save money in the sense that it should just be sitting there. I believe you should save money to where the money will do something. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like investing it in places.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm so purchasing and building property.
Yes.
That's the actual value of wealth.
It should be doing something, right?
That's what the 1% is actually supposed to do. The 1% is supposed to
push it into the economy.
Yeah, the 1% is supposed to use their fuck ton of money. They're supposed to use their fuck ton of money to one, make even more money for themselves while simultaneously building places for other people. That's kind of the idea behind it, and that's actually what Jews do. It's also like, but it's kind of like. It also goes back to what I was mentioning the other day, that like by most projections, like abject poverty is going to be eradicated within the next couple decades.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you and I can disagree about how accurate those predictions are. But even if we're the most conservative on the predictions and we say it's going to take 100 years instead of 20, which I don't think it's going to take that long. But let's assume for the sake of argument that it does. It's kind of like, I feel like we're thinking too short term to solve these problems. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, okay, here's a good way to word it. I don't believe that the problem is we have rich people are too rich. I believe that the problem is there are too many poor people. And I don't really think that the way to solve that is by taking money from rich people. And the reason why is because of what I was mentioning the other day, where when you give people who don't understand how to use money, a lot of money, they lose it very quickly.
Yes, they do.
The controversial point that I was going to say, that I wasn't originally going to, but I'll say it now, is I am of the genuine opinion that if we educated people better on economics and funding and investment and how money works in general, we already wouldn't have poor people. Unless it's like you're in a third world country.
Unless you're just
unless
like
it's
stupid.
You're in a third world unless if you're stupid or if you're in a third world country run by a warlord. Like
unless you just like get taught stuff and then just don't do it because I don't know reasons.
I genuinely think that if we just educated people better, like right now, the way the world is right now, if we just educated people better, we wouldn't have to worry about poverty. I really do think that.
It would be a lot less of a problem. But then the question is like, then we get into education's problem because like there's a lot of problems with education. What's the right way to teach people?
You see, but that's my point. It's kind of like, I feel like the whole thing. It's like, well, rich people should give money to charity. It's like, okay, I don't.
But then you ask, what's
you.
the next step?
Yeah, it's like you're plugging the holes. Sometimes you need to rebuild the hull of the ship. You know, it's like.
I agree. But it's something to look at. Like
it is. It's definitely something to look. Okay, it's like a good example I could give is like okay, here's a perfect example. I don't know what your stance is on abortion, and it doesn't really Well, actually, out of curiosity, what are you?
I'm not too sure. I don't know all the political lingo. I know my own
Okay.
opinions. I could tell you those.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's what your stance was.
Oh, I mean, I'm of the opinion it's a very hard choice. Obviously, I think. Luckily, I've taken a philosophy class like a lot, so I'm of the opinion that like, holy shit, they're just getting raped, and I'm probably dead here. Okay. I'm of the opinion that because it's such a hard choice, there's no right answer per se. So the most you could ask for in the situation is just having the the person in question, who I would say are the parents, the woman and the man, just think about it seriously and take it into serious consideration, and then whatever outcome they choose should be accepted if they take it seriously into consideration and they're not fucking
Oh,
stupid.
okay. So, I okay. Broadly speaking, I agree with you,
Okay.
but it doesn't really matter for what my point is. I
Okay.
was just curious. Um, there are many people who are pro-life, right? You know, like completely against abortion.
Yes.
Who they say things like, okay, well, abortion should be illegal, or they say things like, unless if the fetus is going to kill the mother, it should just never be allowed, or they'll say it's like what's it called, like, you know, defund Planned Parenthood, all of these conversations that are being had.
Mm-hmm.
um but here's an outlook I over the last couple years have kind of started to think about. It's like, by the time a girl has to even consider getting an abortion,
Mm-hmm.
the list of things prior to that went wrong is so vast
What do you mean by
that make
that?
it's like, okay, you don't just wake up and a girl's pregnant, right?
I would
You
hope not. No, this isn't Christianity.
Yeah, it's it's like, okay, this girl was uneducated and made a
Yes.
poor decision, had
Okay,
sex
wait, wait, wait.
without contraceptive. And, I'm just giving examples. Like, my
I
point is
feel
that
like
the,
that's not too
okay,
okay though.
okay. Look, here's my point. There's a list of things, whatever they are, but it's
Yes.
not as my point. There were multiple things that could have been done prior to the woman getting pregnant and even considering wanting an abortion, that could have been done to prevent the pregnancy from happening in the first place.
Okay, wait, wait.
So I think
You
that
are right.
I think that focusing on the abortion versus not abortion problem, instead of focusing on all the things that came up before that led to that being a problem in the first place, is kind of foolish. It's very similar to the example of the, okay, yeah, it's like you can give money to poor people, but if they don't know how to use it, it's like, are you really doing anything?
Okay, wait, wait. I want to argue you on the woman point now. I would say in most situations, if you're getting an abortion, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not a statistician or anything, but I would say most of the times you're right, where it's like, oh, it's because of some like mistake or something. But I would say sometimes, obviously, it's like maybe it's like an accident where like, oh, you know how like condoms aren't 100% effective.
Usually if a condom doesn't work, it's because it broke or it
Exactly.
was
Like,
expired.
but what if it breaks? Like, whose fault is that at that point?
But
Right.
you see, the thing was that, like, the vast majority of the time, pre- pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies, are not caused by broken condoms. Most of the time, unwanted
Yeah, no, that's
pregnancies are
why I'm
caused by
saying
people
most
not
of the.
using condoms at all.
Okay, yeah, no,
It's,
you're ignoring what I'm saying though.
no, I get what you're saying, that it wouldn't solve every case, but it doesn't have to solve every case. It just has to solve enough of them.
Uh, yeah, I
It's
don't
like,
know.
if you're trying to have a one size fit all, we're gonna if you I think it's unrealistic to try have a one size fit all to any problem.
That's why I'm saying. My what I'm saying is like because one size doesn't fit all, and because there would be exceptions, we should leave it up to the people themselves as long as they think about it seriously. Because there is no right answer at the end of the day for it.
True, but there are multiple things that could be done to prevent people from even having to make the decision in the first place.
That's true, but once it happens, it happens. You can't go
I,
back in time. You can only prevent it for the future, which at that point it would help for the future. But once it happens, it doesn't matter what happened before that. It's
Isn't
happened.
I don't see how that devalues what I'm trying to say, though.
You're kind of speaking for like the future and to improve things, which I agree with. What I'm saying is like until we get to that point. You get it?
It's okay. I see what you're saying. To a degree, I am kind of just throwing out the baby with the bathwater right now and just getting a new one.
Okay.
If you understand my meaning, it's like
a tad bit.
I'm just kind of saying, all right, this ship is sinking. Let's just build a new one. I'm not even bothering trying to fix it. It's just.
But what I'm saying is, what do we do before the ship is built? Like before we get the new one, how do we survive until that point, or how do we make it at least better until we get there?
Well, I feel like so many of the problems we've discussed so far could just be solved if we educated people better.
Well, that's true, but again, then we go into education stuff. But I don't know. My thing is, it's like I don't know, because then what about in the case of rape? What do you do
personally, look, I'm of the opinion that if the abortion is done early enough, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm of that opinion is because this is not a very commonly known fact, but most fertile, like most like viable zygotes, if you know what a zygote is.
Yes.
Yeah, most viable zygotes are spontaneously aborted by the woman's uterus and reabsorbed into the body.
Really?
These are completely fertile, would have developed into an infant. Assuming that there wasn't a stillbirth or a miscarriage.
Okay, assuming no complications occurred.
Yeah, and spontaneously within like a week, and sometimes less, it's just reabsorbed into the woman's body, and effectively the baby dies.
But would you even call it a baby then?
Well, the thing about people who are pro-choice is that they say that
I don't know the arguments. I don't know what pro-choice means for the literal sense.
My mistake. I meant to say pro-life. The people who are like against abortion. The argument of people who are pro-life. Their point of view is that from the second that it's conceived, from the second that the egg is fertilized by the sperm, it's a baby.
Really?
And so their viewpoint is that abortion at any point is killing somebody.
Oh, wow.
And it's wrong because
that's a little serious.
So, and the reason why I disagree with that is because of what exactly I just said. It's like, okay, look, we realize that like 60%, something like 60-65% of completely viable eggs, fertilized eggs, are just killed. And this happens all the time. It's like...
But at that point, what did they say? Do they say it's natural, or...?
No, the thing is that most of them don't even know that that's the case.
What about for the ones who do?
A lot of them say, well, yeah, that's natural. Nothing can be done about that.
Okay.
It's kind of like... It's complicated. But in my opinion, like, if you were raped, yeah, but like, you shouldn't have to have that kid. Especially since there's good evidence. I'm pretty sure, I don't know the hard data on this, but I'm willing to assume that if you're raped, you're probably going to end up hating that kid.
I don't know the evidence either, but it might be a possibility for sure. But then, what about the mother's instincts, right, with the chemicals and stuff?
I don't know. That depends. I mean, dude, sometimes mothers kill their babies. It happens.
Yeah, sometimes they kill their own babies, but most of the time, I'm saying, like, don't they have like chemicals that make them love the child?
I've never really looked into what happens, like statistically speaking, to rape babies and how the mother reacts to them. I feel like it would be quite the controversial study to undertake.
Oh yeah, ethically, no way that's happening.
Well, I mean, you don't have to do it, but you could just like ask, like, okay, like women who are willing to respond to this anonymously. If you have a rape baby, speak honestly. It's like you can be completely anonymous. They can do it. They can manage it.
Yeah, but then would people actually answer it, and then would they answer truthfully? And then the few people that do, would it be representative of the whole who doesn't answer? It's like,
well, that's the thing about statistics. Statistics can be quite unclean sometimes. You have to kind of sift through the dirt.
Yeah, I know. I took a lot of not a lot of math, but a lot of like the math class I just took like went into the problems with statistics. Excuse my tongue. Where
Yeah, it's
like
like
it has the good, the bad, and shit.
it's like
Went over the
a
different
good
voting methods like
yeah.
Copeland's.
It's kind of like a good way to think about it is like the larger the sample size, and the greater the period of time,
The more
the more
indicative it is.
yeah, the more accurate it is.
Yeah, I know.
And when you go backwards, the opposite is true. Because like, if I were to take a random bloke off the street and try to assign statistical averages to him, chances are most of them are gonna be wrong.
Obviously.
But like, it's like if you apply them to all blokes,
This
suddenly
blow.
becomes a lot more accurate.
Of course.
It's like, yeah. And that's the messy side of statistics, so I don't really know. And especially since, like, yeah, it's just kind of, it's difficult, definitely.
Fuck. Yeah. So where were we talking about, like, originally? What was our original conversation?
How Elijah doesn't fulfill his promises.
How the
How
fuck
he's
did
been,
we get to birth control?
and how he was recently, because we were talking about how, like, he was talking about rich people, and how, like,
Oh,
people
yeah,
who
yeah.
aren't rich that try to defend them.
Okay, yeah, so let's go back to that. I want to stick on that point some more. So, I don't know. You definitely bring in, like, the best point that I've personally ever heard anyone say. It's like, what do you do? Or, like, what's the right way to get the money? Should we even get it, right? It's like, at that point, how do we use it correctly?
Like,
How's it, like,
it's like,
how do we make
I
sure it's done
believe
correctly?
helping people. Like, I genuinely believe in helping our fellow humans, but it's like, we need to do it correctly.
Of course, yeah, because then we can't just take their money and do nothing with it or have it be wrongly used or whatever. It needs to be
Yeah,
done
it's like,
correctly.
and it's just like, it, I don't really know what the right way to go about it is, because like, and then it's also kind of like, something I've noticed is that
Fucking hell.
the more successful a person is, the more harshly they are judged.
Yeah.
Even if it is unwarranted. So
Yes.
it's like, for example, like there's a guy, like, well, one of the guys that I hang out. I've mentioned to you obviously many times about Jordan Peterson. So
Yes.
Jordan Peterson has several critics.
Okay.
Consequently, one of the people that I play GURPS with seems to be a critic of his. And one time he was.
I have a question actually, and I want to say it before I forget it.
Okay.
So, I obviously agree with you on the fact that, like, yeah, if we take the rich people's money, but we don't know, like, the right way to actually employ it, that's bad. But here's the question, like, I kind of pose again, similar to what we were kind of just talking about, where it's like, yeah, it's bad, but until we get to the point where we know how to effectively use it, if we can get to that point at all, how do we can we still, like, take that money even if we won't fully use it as correctly as it should be used? And can I stop? Okay. And fuck, that, like, messed up my whole train of thought. I got raped in game.
Taking the money.
Yeah, if we take
even though
the
we
money,
don't know how to use it.
if we don't know how to use it, like, in the best possible way, could you argue that before we get to the point where, like, we know how to use 100% of the donated money correctly, that we could use maybe, like, let's be, like, super not generous. Let's say we only know how to use 10% of the money a rich person donated to, like, oh my god, to help people. 90% of it would be wasted. 10% would be used to help people, but it'd be better than what it was doing, which was nothing. Get what I'm saying?
I have a few issues with that idea.
Okay, go ahead.
The first is, I am not convinced that the majority of money held by the wealthy does nothing. I feel like it seems like it does nothing because economics are really fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
but most rich people who have retained their riches across multiple generations, well, pretty much all of them that do that, is like the money is invested into neighborhoods and businesses and construction projects that build up cities and towns and railroads.
Okay.
It's like the idea of like the whole like Ebenezer Scrooge that has a pile of money that does nothing is kind of a cartoony idea, and it was that was kind of exaggerated.
Okay, but would you say that there's a portion of rich people's money that they don't use, that if it wasn't in their possession, aka they gave it away willingly, do you think that it would there is a portion that exists like that?
I think definitely there is.
So yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
But then the question is, why stop at rich people? Because the same is true for all people.
Yes and
How many-
no.
How much money do you think Elijah has wasted and accomplished nothing against humanity at all?
A lot, definitely a lot.
How much do you think money I or you or any middle class person has wasted? A lot. Why stop at rich people?
Okay, but there's a big difference between rich people and poor people. The rich people
There
have
is.
money like an excess. The poor people, they don't even have an excess of money that they waste, but the rich people do that they don't even necessarily waste. They just have an excess of money. I think that's
But
very different.
But by definition of what I said, though, there is a certain percentage of money that is excess for middle class people.
That is true. Yeah, I don't understand why it wouldn't be applied to the middle class either.
Like, based on your argument, the only class that wouldn't be applied would be the poor.
Yes. That's correct.
And ironically enough, this is actually the exact same viewpoint that got the Democrats to lose 2016.
Well, the people don't like it when you mess with their money, anyone included. Even though it's the right thing to do, I believe.
But was it the right thing to do? Because Obama did the same thing. He increased taxes on the middle class.
Uh-huh.
Because he made a very similar argument to what you're making.
Okay.
The problem was, we found out several things. One, it goes back to what I was saying before, that the government doesn't know how to fuck use the money.
Okay.
Actually, that's the main thing, really. And to give my opinion on what you were saying before, it's like, okay, even if we don't use it all right, we're still going to use a certain percentage rate. It's like, okay, is it worth pissing off your entire country?
Okay, yeah, I'm not looking at like kind of the hard reality of it. I'm looking at it in like a bubble, right? I'm looking at it just like theory. And so in theory, if in theory we could get the money, right? Would it be better in theory to like take it and have, a good majority of it wasted and helping people with 10% of it than having no one helped until we figure out how to properly use 100% of it?
In the extreme confines of your example, yes.
That's what I'm basically saying then.
It's
Because I don't know how in
it's kind of
reality
unrealistic.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like we should try and get as close to that as we can realistically.
Okay, but here's another question. The excess money taken from middle class people, what if that money could have been used to turn those middle class people into wealthy people with stocks?
Then it's not money that is wasted at that point.
No, but the thing is that
Or not that it's wasted, that shouldn't have been taken away
really,
from them.
the system you're positing doesn't have a built-in way of distinguishing between wasted and not wasted money.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying in theory, because there's a lot of problems with this that I don't know how to solve. If I knew how to solve it, I'd fucking do it.
What's not wasted money?
But what you're arguing now is how to best use the money we have. Because I'm pretty sure if rich people used all their money effectively, they wouldn't need to give it to charity.
That is true, but I'm slightly further down on the iceberg. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, how do we even determine what money is going to be taken? let's not even consider how we're going to use that money. How do we even determine what portion of people's money that is?
Well, see, then
Like,
that what I'm about
is
to
the money
say.
like okay, for example, like I bought 550 rounds, 555 rounds of 22 long rifle ammunition for my rifle.
Uh-huh.
Is that wasted money? Well, I
Well,
bought it for I bought it for home defense. So is that wasted money?
now you're asking the question I've like brought up. Is it like how do we best use our money? Because the question then becomes like, well, here's my answer. Let me say my answer first. My answer is, fuck. Hold on, I'm trying to like juggle two things at once right now. Hold on, I'm about to like get raped. Okay, I got raped. The question is, right? Fuck, can you repeat it? I'm like so all over the place right now.
Okay. How do we go about determining what money
I
is
remember.
being wasted?
Okay, yeah. So that's why I pose this only for mainly rich people, because rich people have
It's easier to determine.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. They have so much of an excess where it's like you could realistically see like, okay, again, I'll use Bill Gates because he's the easiest example in my mind. Bill Gates, right? Let's use Bezos because he has more money. Let's just say in this world he got up to $1 trillion, right? He has $1 trillion even. Let's say we take away 500 million of Jeff Bezos's money, right? To him, that's fucking nothing, and it would completely do nothing to him. And at that point, I'm pretty sure almost everyone would agree. Obviously, there's no like hard evidence for it, but everyone would agree like, okay, that's gonna do like nothing.
Okay.
At that point, that would be my answer. Where it's like, okay, you just there's no mathematical way to like know, but it's like in reality, because I'm not smart enough to know the mathematical way, but it's like in reality, 500 million Jeff Bezos giving it.
It's kind
would
of
do
like
nothing.
using your gut.
Yeah, it's like maybe okay. Putting it to math, if I had to put my mind to math, I would say you do it by percentages. Because like, what percentage of Jeff Bezos' wealth is that?
That's not used.
500 million compared to 1 trillion. How much is that?
Oh, that's
percentage-wise?
nothing. That's like 1%.
No,
That's
less
probably
than.
less than 1%.
Way less than
That's,
1.
that's like I think that's literally like 0.05%. I think that might be less than that actually. Maybe.
Probably less than that too.
Well, what do you say? 1 trillion?
Yeah, 1 trillion. And we take 500 million cash from him. And of course, my camera's fucked up again.
Point 0.0005%.
How much?
0.0005%.
So how much is that?
It's less than 1% of 1% of his money.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with my previous statement. I say we do it by percentages. That's my recommendation.
I knew the guy was loaded, but when you put it into like perspective like that, it's kind of hilarious.
It is. But you see what I'm saying? Like, if he gave 500 million, and let's say we didn't even know how to use that 500 million effectively, and we only used 10 million of it to help people, we'll be super ungenerous, and we use 10 million. It's not to help people of that 500 million, because I don't know, we were retarded with like the other bit.
Yeah.
At that point, would you say that 10 million helping people is better than that 500 million sitting there doing nothing and it being taken away and not affecting Jeff Bezos at all?
I agree with you that in principle this makes sense. My problem is, one, I don't really trust government to do this. And two, I don't think it's practically achievable.
Why not?
Okay. I don't think I need to explain why I don't trust government to do this.
I don't trust the government with anything either.
The reason why I don't think it would really be practical is because, like, at that point, you would have to create a list of people that you do this to. You know?
Well, let's say we do it to people above.
And that's literally illegal.
Why?
Okay. I spoke too soon because you were saying something additionally to that, so continue.
Okay, let's say we only do it to people who have above $1 billion, and we only take 0.001% of their wealth.
But we already do more than that with taxes.
But see, the rich manipulate the taxes and they get off with it.
But that is, okay, see, this goes back to another issue of mine. Wouldn't it then be better to plug the loopholes of taxes instead of doing this?
See, now we're getting into a lot of other things. It's like, there's
like,
a lot of things that should be done. I'm just posing one thing.
For example, Amazon pays 0 taxes.
Yeah, I know.
I am a very, like, economically conservative individual. And even I think that is fucking stupid.
Well, that's how taxes work. Now you're asking to fix taxes. I'm just exploring this one avenue that I think is interesting. I don't have the answers to these very other complicated questions.
I think that the specific avenue you're saying is interesting, and I think that in the specific scenario you're discussing, you're probably right. It's just like, I'm trying to extrapolate as to how we can make this broadly more applicable, you know?
And what I'm saying is I have no fucking clue. I don't want to get into that because I have no clue, and that requires hardcore thinking from actual economists, and I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I'm just saying...
But in essence, what you're saying, yes, you're right.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to show you, like, oh, it's interesting that, like, maybe they could give away, willingly, of course. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not fucking trying to be a communist here or something. Even though if it was done correctly, it'd work.
But it can't be.
I know, because we're evil.
No, not because we're evil, because we're people.
People are evil.
If you work harder than Jim, you should get more than Jim.
That's true. But then if you have so much more than Jim, maybe you should help Jim out a little bit. You know, maybe Jim's struggling.
Yeah, maybe you should help out Jim. I think that's the right thing to do. But you shouldn't have a gun pointed to your head.
Of course, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's why communism is bad.
I know. I'm saying it should be willing, but, like, I would just say...
You know, communism is forced... what's it called? It's forced charity.
Nothing should be forced.
Starvation.
Yeah, no, nothing should be forced like that. I just wish it would be, like... It would be heavily shamed if you didn't. Like, if you didn't help your fellow person, you should be shamed.
Your dream, you mean our dream.
Wait, what?
You know, it's like the memes. It's like, what do you mean yours? You mean ours.
Oh, no. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I feel like if you have, like, a certain love for humanity at the base level and you're that rich... Because look at Bill Gates. Bill Gates already does this on a lesser degree. He helps people a lot already. Which I kind of think it's unfair for people to say then, oh, you should just donate more. You should do this. You should do that. Well, I agree, maybe he could. It's perfectly within his right to be helping as much as he wants to, as long as he's helping, right? I mean,
especially since, like...
Go ahead.
It's like... okay, using the percent is actually a good thing to think about. Like...
Let me do this, right? Let me calculate my percent wealth.
I don't know if this is accurate. You could probably test this right now, actually. I'm willing to bet that Bill Gates donates a higher percentage of his liquid money to charity than middle class people do.
Probably. Now, well, actually, I don't know, because we don't know how much liquid money he has, but I would argue
here's something that's quite fascinating.
Maybe he has so much.
Very, very poor people and very, very rich people give the most to charity.
Yeah, the middle class doesn't, because they're the in-between.
It's the middle class are the people that don't.
Wait, you want to know something, by the way?
What?
Let's say I estimated my wealth at $200,000, right? Let's say I had $200,000. Yeah. You know what I would have to donate to match Jeff Bezos's $500 million?
What?
$20.
Huh. That's pretty funny.
I've already donated more than that this month alone. So I would have already, like, met the quota, quote unquote, if this was applied to me.
If you donate $20 already, you probably donate more than most people.
That's sad.
Unfortunately, that is the case. People don't really donate very much to charity, in the middle class specifically.
That's very sad. I donated 50.
Yeah, that's nice of you. Good on you. So I said something similar to Elijah, actually. I was telling Elijah that, like, okay, how much money do you give to charity? And he told me that he gives, I don't know, like $1. And I'm like, all right, shut the fuck up. It's basically what I told you.
Hey. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I guess. That's a sandwich.
If he said nothing, then I'd be like, shut the fuck up. But if he said like $1, I'd be like, eh.
You're right, it is better than nothing, but it's kind of like...
I know.
It's like, come on, man.
But it's something.
Yeah, it is something. It's just like, I don't...
Remember what you said, every little bit counts.
I do think every little bit counts. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man.
I mean, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying for the rich people. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, oh, you donated 100 million. To us, that's a lot. To you, it's us that's 0.0001% of your wealth. Come on. That's basically what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, it's good, thank you. Maybe could you do a little bit more next time? If you want, if you're feeling kind one day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's bad to say, though, because then you're kind of downplaying the original donation, but it's like, at what point should you be satisfied with a donation? Yeah, it's a donation, but it's like, look at the percentage. Look at it.
Percentages are hard.
Yeah.
Because if someone was dirt broke and gave you a quarter, and that was a lot to them because that's how poor they were, some people might say you may as well not have donated.
Well, I don't know. I mean, at that point, it's the act, right?
I don't agree with that, but some people would say that.
Well, actually, I would say that too, because in reality, if you're that poor, you need it more. You should donate that shit. If you need a fucking quarter, like, let's say you have $1 and you donate a quarter, I'd be like, listen, man, what are you doing? That's not gonna do anything for anyone but you at that point.
I saw this one, like, Neil, you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is, right?
Yes, the black man.
Yeah. He was like, he did like a joke one time where he was saying, it's like I do my laundry, right? I need like a quarter to do my laundry.
Yes.
So it's like I was saying, it's like I saw a quarter when I was parking my car. I was driving over here. I mean, like walking over here, and I thought to myself, picking up a quarter is worthwhile to me because I can use that quarter for parking.
Yeah.
To do my laundry.
Yeah.
I mean,
wait, is Neil deGrasse Tyson rich?
He's pretty rich, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then he was saying, I was wondering, it's like, someone like Bill Gates, who's worth way more than me, at what point is it not worth him? Is it not worth his time to pick up money?
I think he's like at that point right now.
Because, and Neil was saying, because if I saw a penny or a nickel,
you wouldn't pick it up.
I probably wouldn't pick it up.
Yeah,
but I would pick up a quarter. But I would pick up a quarter, and it says, so I did the math.
Oh God.
And if Bill Gates saw $100,000 on the floor, it would literally not be worth his time to pick it up.
100K, Jesus Christ.
I found that so fucking hilarious. Because I was like, holy shit, bro.
That's what a lot of people argue. A lot of people just argue the amount of wealth they have is like kind of just crazy.
I don't think... I'm not saying that it's not crazy. I'm saying that, like, so what?
So maybe we should be doing something with it.
But what I was saying before, I think that there's alternative ways to make life better for people that don't require us taking money from them forcefully.
There definitely is. I don't agree in the forceful aspect of it, but I'm just saying maybe that money should be given because it would provide helping, whereas before, if it wasn't given, it would provide nothing and you lose nothing for giving it.
You're preaching to the choir. I believe in charity too. I don't believe in ridiculously high taxes, and for multiple reasons. And
okay, so yeah, we're basically just agreeing on the same thing at this point.
Yeah, it's like I'm just saying, it's like people should do good because it's the right thing to do.
I feel like a lot of people don't know that though. They don't know what the right thing is a lot of the time.
It's I feel like people do what's right because they're told to do it and not because they understand why it's right. You know?
But how do you make them understand why it's right?
That's very difficult to do.
Because then
That's
how does anyone
that's
say what's right? Now we get into
that's why
ethics.
you see that's why religion is so effective.
Oh God.
Well, it's true.
No.
Because the value of religion is you don't have to understand why this is moral. You
You
just
just
have to
believe
understand.
it.
You just believe that it's moral, and if you do this, then things work out. And
So
to a
should we just
degree,
have
it's
like a
true.
common book of like, hey, this is the morality everyone should believe in?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, and that's kind of like that's what religion does. That's what it's good for.
But if
It,
it's not under the premise of God, people won't believe it.
I feel like that's changing now, but for a large part of history, basically, yeah.
Wow.
Well, it also depends on reason. Because like, actually, I take back what I said. I don't think that people historically needed something to be told by their God for them to believe it was right. And the reason for that is because like Christianity and like the Abrahamic religions, like Judaism, Islam, Christianity,
Buddhism.
they're pretty Buddhism. They're pretty much the only religions that basically say this is right because God says it's right. Most other religions don't really do that. Like in Hinduism, it never says Vishnu said you should do this, therefore you should do it.
Vishnu. You mean Vishnu?
Hinduism, Hinduism is more like, oh, here's a bunch of stories, here are a bunch of gods, and like, eh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look upon it.
Is
Like,
that really how it is?
I mean, you tell me, did Zeus ever tell the human beings how, like, when they should worship him?
I don't believe so, but I'm not that much of an expert in fucking the pantheon, so I don't know.
It's kind of like the value of religion is that it creates a form of homogeny, and when there's homogeny, society functions better. Now, the problem lies when people start realizing that religion was written by people. And actually, no, that's not the problem. The problem is when people have lived their lives assuming that morality came from a god. And when you assume that, it kind of devalues morality, if you know what I mean.
Not really, no.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Assuming you were a believer,
Okay. Because you know I'm
what?
not.
Yeah. Is murder wrong because God says it's wrong? Or does God say murder is wrong, because it's wrong? Like it,
Okay, wait.
you know
Let
what?
me ask you a question. What kind of
Yes.
believer am I?
You're a Christian, just for the sake of it.
What kind of Christian?
I don't fucking know.
Because I can't answer this question specifically because I'm not a Christian. I don't know what a Christian would say. Because I can be either like a religious nut Christian, like a smart Christian, a realistic Christian. I could be a lot of things, and the answer would be different. I feel like there are Christian people who believe that murder is wrong because it's wrong and God believes it. But I feel like there's some
Okay.
Christians who just believe, oh, it's only wrong because God said it.
Okay,
You can't
well,
just apply that broadly to Christianity as a one thing.
allow me to rephrase not rephrase the question, but rephrase like how I posit it. Your answer, ironically enough, doesn't actually matter, Alan, because
Really?
the answer is that morality is arbitrary either way. Because
Fuck.
either A, murder is wrong because God says it's wrong, and therefore morality is arbitrarily decided by God,
Okay.
or B, murder is always wrong no matter what, and God is just pointing it out.
Okay.
In which case, morality does not require God. So it's not.
Uh-huh.
So either it's arbitrary or we don't need God. It's one or the other. Like logically speaking, it
Wait, say it
actually
again.
has to.
Say it again. I'm so
Oh,
confused.
okay. Is murder wrong
Yeah,
because God says it's wrong? Or is murder wrong no matter what?
it could be both.
Nah. Okay.
It could be
Even
one
if
or
it's.
the other. It could be both. We don't know. How would we know?
But that's not my point. My point is that regardless of the answer, it kind of throws the whole corkscrew into the God idea. Because if you say that it's wrong because he says it's wrong, then morality becomes arbitrary. If you say it's wrong no matter what, then morality is not arbitrary, but we don't need God to determine it.
Because we could determine it ourselves.
Yeah, potentially we could,
But then don't we need God for other things?
such as
I don't know. I don't know what we need God for in general.
because the same idea would apply to everything. Is this the way it is because he says it is, whatever that thing is? Or is it always this way no matter what? You can apply the question to literally anything. And it leads you to the same conclusions. Either this thing is arbitrary and it can be whatever we want it to be, or whatever's practical for us, or it's set in stone and we can discover it on our own. For example, 2 plus 2 is always 4 no matter what.
Yeah.
But like, is red better than blue? Who knows?
Okay.
So, I forgot why I brought this up.
That's usually what happens with us.
Oh yeah, so that's the problem with assigning morality to a deity. Because when then you start questioning that deity, you start questioning your morality. But that's not good. Your morality should be your morality regardless of your deity.
So you're saying no
Because
matter
that,
what, the deity doesn't matter.
yeah, because if you do that, if you allow that to be the case, then
Wait.
no matter how much your faith is shaken, you will always have a firm foot in what's right and what's wrong.
Wait, I'm confused about something. I need you to repeat it. So, what happens if morality does come from God? What was the thing you said?
Oh, then it's arbitrary.
What does that mean? It's arbitrary.
That it's not set in stone.
But
It's
isn't it
potential.
set in stone from God?
No, but God's the one saying it. It's kind of like, is the only reason why this thing is wrong because he's saying it's wrong? It's like, okay, then it's arbitrary because we're just following what he's saying.
Wait, but isn't it not arbitrary because it's God who says it and that won't change? Because God won't change what it is? Unless people change it, but at that point it's not God, assuming God's real.
I don't understand how it's still not arbitrary though.
Because what does arbitrary mean exactly? I'm a little confused.
Let me get the exact definition.
Arbitrary means you can decide it, right?
Arbitrary, determined by chance, whim, or impulse, and not by necessitating reason or principle, based on a subject to individual judgment or preference.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's determined by God, it's not arbitrary, it's set in stone.
How? That doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean?
How? Because it's based on his whim. Therefore, it's arbitrary.
But, okay, I think we're having a problem in what our thing is about God. So, my thing is, I'm seeing, like, God, when I think of, like, God, I think of, like, the person who, like, knows all, does all, is all powerful, like, can do basically no wrong. I believe in, like, that version of God, right? In this situation.
Okay.
So, oh, fuck me. Hold on. Gotta not die here for a quick second. Okay, I died anyway. So yeah, in this version of God, I'm saying, like, he puts things in the universe that are just true. Like, regardless of if we know it or not, God made it, so it's true. Like, if God wants something this way, it's this way, and it's just true that way. So, if God says, oh, this is evil, it's evil. It's not arbitrary. He's like, it doesn't change from what God says. Because
Well, then
God
it
said
goes
it, it's
in-
just like that.
Well, if you're looking at it that way, then it goes to the other option, in which case it's set in stone, so we still don't need God.
But we need God because God's the one who sets it. And without, like, following God's teachings, we
Okay,
wouldn't
but
know it.
here's a question though.
Yes.
What happens if God stops setting it? What happens if God exists?
Yes.
He decides what's good, what's evil,
Yes.
and then he dies. Whatever, he ceases to exist. Whatever
He stops
happens.
talking to us.
He stops talking to us. Whatever
Yes.
the fuck. What
Um,
happens to those questions?
well, I mean, they're already solved by God, so I see what you're trying
So-
to say now.
So like, do we need him anymore?
No, but was he important at one point? Yes.
Oh, but that's not really the point of my question. That's not really the point of what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that I think it's very, very important, especially in the modern day, for us as a society to be able to divorce our morality from our belief in the supernatural.
Okay.
Because if we do that, then even if we lose our faith in the supernatural, we'll still have our faith in our morality.
Okay, I agree with that.
Because, yeah, see, the problem is, like, if you believe one comes from the other, and without God there is no
Okay.
morality, then if you lose your faith, we get fucking the purge.
Okay. So then in my situation where God sets it and then just leaves us, what you're saying is that if people divorced faith from religion, they could still understand theoretically that, like, okay, yeah, God created it, but we don't have it anymore, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't still follow it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I get it.
And this is actually something that, like, legitimate, like, priests have said. Because there have been priests, like, who have gone on record, like, on television saying, if there was no God, I would be a murderer.
Oh
I
God,
would be a
what
rapist.
the?
Now, I don't know if they're just speaking in hyperbole.
What if they're just
I
saying that
hope,
for television?
maybe, I really hope they are.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and hope so too. I don't hope people become rapists and murderers.
But it's like, it kind of makes me think, because considering the crazy shit people do in the name of God,
The Crusades.
9/11,
That's true.
it's like, considering
9/11.
that, I'm kind of afraid about what people who believe so strongly in God would
Was
do
that
if
in
their
the
faith
name of
was shaken.
God? Or was that because of he just didn't like America?
Well, they attributed it to their religion.
Okay.
Like, it was a religious terrorist attack.
Okay. But do you think, like, Bin Laden actually did it for religion, or he used that also as well to try and justify it to his own people or supporters?
I think eventually it became the same thing to him.
Okay. Oh my God, this fucking...
Oh my, what?
That's what's about to happen to me. Oh no. Oh great, now here comes fucking cockroaches. Here, what is this?
All
even
of
doing?
Avatar, The Last Airbender is on Netflix.
Yes, it's been getting memed on.
I should
In a good
watch it
way.
again. It's been a long time.
You know what I fucking hate?
What?
The fact that, like, I actually went and watched on, like, some stupid low-quality site because I wanted
And
to
now
see
it's
it again.
HD.
Yeah, and now look what happened. It literally just came out on Netflix. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? If I waited...
I'm starting to think it might be worth just waiting for everything to come out on Netflix.
But the question is, will it?
I don't know.
We
A
don't
lot of
know
the
the
shows I was
future.
interested in watching came out on Netflix.
I guess. I mean, I'm not interested in too many things very often,
Yeah.
so... Damn, I'm sad. I'm sad it fucking came out on Netflix
That's a shame. How long ago did you watch it?
a couple months ago.
Oh wow, that feels bad.
Yeah.
If it was like a year ago, I'd be like, hey, I could watch it again. It's been a while. But a couple months ago, it's like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, I'm like,
For
come
me,
on,
it's been
cuh.
for me, it's been like literally years. Like actually, literally like 5 or 6 years.
Oh, hell yeah, it'd be a good rewatch then.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again.
Very good series.
Yeah, but Friedrich Nietzsche actually said something very similar to what I was saying about like divorcing our morality from God.
What did he say?
Uh,
Oh, is he
the
the one
whole
with the super famous quote about God or whatever?
yeah, God is dead and we have
Yeah.
killed him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Because you see, Friedrich Nietzsche was an atheist,
Okay.
but at the same time, he had an appreciation for what religion accomplished, and
Mm-hmm.
he basically the whole point of the God is dead speech is basically saying it's like, okay, look, God for the longest time was our morality, and now that people are turning away from God, they're turning away from our morality.
Oh
So
no.
the only way for us to survive as a species is for us to become the Superman, the
Oh,
Ubermensch,
the Ubermensch?
and that if we can attain that mantle as a species, we can create our own morality, devoid the divorced from God, and we can still be saved. Now, the downside to it is that Nietzsche didn't think humans could actually do that.
Damn.
Like he actually says like we this is what we need to do. I
But
don't
I
think we're
don't think we
capable.
can.
I don't think we're capable of it. But
So it's like what me and you were saying, oh, people need to get better educated and live better lives. But
yeah,
do we think we
Nietzsche.
can do that?
Yeah. Basically, that's the only difference between us. It's like
Oh my
Nietzsche thought we
god.
were fucked. You and I are a bit more optimistic,
Just a bit.
just a bit.
Just a little bit. You don't think we're
And
just fucked?
no, I actually think humans are pretty cool, personally.
I think the majority of us aren't, but I think some of us are.
I don't think it's the majority. I'm actually quite optimistic about people.
I don't know. I think the majority of us are kind of fucked up. The majority of us are stupid and fucked up.
Those are some thick thighs.
Oh, thank you.
Wasn't talking to you, but you have thick thighs too.
Well, thank you. So, Boobin, here's the real question I have to ask.
Yeah.
When are we gonna watch Kengan again?
We can watch it tomorrow.
See,
We
Boobin,
can watch it right now.
I don't want to watch it now because I have more shit to do on Warframe right now.
Okay.
But I get urges, Boobin. When I do stuff on Warframe and I want to take a break, I want to watch Kengan, but I want to go ahead
I'll be free tomorrow, so
all day.
maybe not at one point in the middle of the day because I'm my brother's teaching me how to drive. But other than that, I'll be free most of the day. Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah. So I guess this works out then. All right, cool. So I personally want to end it off here because I want to go play Warframe, but before that, I want to go to the bathroom and then make food, and then that might take some time. So I don't want to go back and forth and then come back here because now it's kind of getting late and I want to relax and end my night
Okay.
with
Cool.
Warframe. So we'll leave it here. I'll probably end up talking to you tomorrow.
Talk to you later, bro.
Later, Daboobin. Okay, pretty good talk today. Hope you guys enjoyed.